Hello everyone, Darkeye3 here, and today we're looking at the newest patch for So You're Being Hunted. This is version 0.3.4518, otherwise known as Pipe. Now, this one sees a fair few changes, a new addition which we're all going to love, and also a few fixes. So to start off with, we're just going to take a look at the changes, see the fixes, and finally we're going to take a look at a little addition that we're all going to love. So initially, the noises have been changed, so we now have sparks on dead robots. They have also increased the investigation time for hunters when they hear something. Before, when you threw a bottle, they would take a second or so to look and then go back to where they were, not giving you enough time to go back to take the item, and now they search for a downside longer, so you should be okay. The fog and view distance are now hard limited to prevent player monkeying with the XML being all bots on the island. There is an option in the alpha build to actually look at where the bots are, but I think they wanted to avoid it if you didn't want to actually see that. A lot of the changes are actually like fixing cheats and workarounds that they never intended to actually be in the game, even in the alpha. There is now a better fire tooltip. It is now less confusing than it was before, and it should be more in line with the other tooltips for items. The XML is now encrypted, so it is a little bit more difficult for cheaty cheaters to cheat. Actually, it says here, prevent cheaty cheaters cheating, so there you go. There are now some more audio cues as well, so when you open inventories and various other things, they should have an audio cue. And much to everyone's delight, wisps should now be easier to find, so it's easier to find those last pieces. Before, you had to search around for quite some time to actually find a piece or a wisp, and now it should be a lot easier to find those wisps and find those last remaining pieces. Now the gravestones, before you just had nothing on them, and now we actually have the Kickstarter backers for the, I think it was the £45 and above, or $45 and above I think it was, backing tier. So now look around, if you backed at that level and you should have access to the alpha build, go take a look, see if you can find your name on there. Sadly, at the point of me signing up for this, I didn't have enough money to get the $45 and above back. I just had the alpha build back. But those of you who were lucky enough to get that, go take a look, see if you can find your names. The red toadstool has actually had its effect tweaked. Before, it used to reduce your vitality, and now it actually ups your vitality. This ties in very nicely with the food nerf, at which point the food availability has been massively reduced, which means that early game you're going to find less food, and late game you're going to find next to no food. So remember, when you find food, stockpile. The pub, speaking of food, is also now under new management, apparently. It looks a bit different from what I remember. There are more gender reassignment options in the main menu. It's more easy to see. Before, it used to be a simple gender icon, now it's an actual button. And the new debug toggle, there we go, is available. This allows you to see much more of the Verbose style debug blog, and it allows us to find those bugs a lot better. But downside, it does slow down your island generation times, and it may hinder your performance, so be very careful if you use that. I'd recommend not using it if you are building an island. Possibly use it if you want to find any bugs during the game. And the last major change, other than the special thing which I mentioned after this, is the player will now receive damage from being pinned by dogs, including a chance to bleed. So before, dogs weren't that much of a threat when they were by themselves. They would just pin you, and if no one was around, they'd go. In some cases they disappear, but that's a bug. Now, if they pin you, not only will you take some damage from them pinning you, but they may bleed you. So there's a chance that a dog by itself can kill you if you are not carrying bandages, so be very careful about that. And now, on to the fixes. There are a few changes. So before, they have now fixed some audio priorities. Before, they had so many birds singing that it maxed out the audio source count, and therefore it muted other sounds like robots. So that's rather large bug we fixed there. The tin mine loot barrel issue has been fixed. I am not sure what that is, but I'm guessing it involves food of some sort. Not sure. The axe has been nerfed. My hatchet, my beloved hatchet, is no longer a one-shot kill. It is now a two-shot, sadly. But I think That's probably a good idea. That axe was so powerful, it's unbelievable. Now the first hit will make them go into their run away, and the second hit will destroy them. It happened a few times on previous builds, but now it is much more common. It won't happen. It won't be a one-shot kill anymore. The pathing issue from solo buildings has been fixed, or from some of them. A pistol position bug has been fixed. Hunter face furniture incorrect offsets have been fixed. I'm not sure what that means. I'm guessing it means hunters walking into objects and then just looking at the object. An issue where your gender could be switched after a certain piece of advice. Yep, that happened. Fix an issue where the weapon state would not change if you change stance. Again, that happened. Fix a missing drop-down menu text in inventories. That was a Linux build, but it did appear to bleed into Mac and Windows builds, but that has now been resolved. And we have had confirmation on the forum from various people who have had this issue before, but it has been fixed. And the final fix is an issue where projectile weapons could deal double damage. I was not aware of this issue. I wish I had that. I wish I knew that. That would be awesome. And now, finally, the coolest part of the pipe update is the Squire. Yes, he is one large git. He has a slightly different audio cue. He sounds like a normal robot until you get near him, at which point he has like a slow, lurchy sound to him. He's got a much deeper voice to the other robots. He has a very distinctive voice to the other robots, and you want to be very careful of him. Most robots, when you shoot them in the chest with a rifle, will panic, most likely. The Squire sits there and goes, "What were you trying to do with that? That tickled." That's how big and how tough this guy is. I don't think you can trap him with traps either. I tried and it didn't seem to work. So be very careful with that. Have fun with the new robot and some of the new fixes. Be very careful out there, and hopefully the Squire will not catch you out and those pesky robots and dogs will not destroy you. See you later, guys.